Well, another Thursday night, and here we are on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. It is a wonderful music, motivation, and mindset show. Tonight's guest is Pretty Poison. So we have Jade, Starling, and Way Cooler. And why don't we just bring them on right now to some applause, of course, because you guys are a great audience. There they are. What's going on, guys?
Hey, everybody.
How's everybody doing?
Good, good.
John? I like your blue headphones.
Oh, do you? They're some Monster Adidas. I got them like 10 years ago. I was at one of the shows, I think out in California, All Access show. And I met the guy from Monster who actually, he's the guy who created Beats as well. And he was just like, here, try these out. And I'm like, cool, thanks.
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah, really. Nice branded headphones.
Yeah, they're nice and bright.
Yeah. We're going to need some for you guys. You'll have to get some custom colors and stuff, you know?
Sign me up.
That'd be pretty cool. So the show is basically about like you guys, your history, what motivated you to get into music and all that fun stuff. So why don't we start with when did both of you, separately, of course, really first get that music bug? When you were kids, a lot of people, they kind of really get into it in high school. But, you know, some people a little bit earlier, some a little later. What was your story with that?
When I was little, I used to do pageants. My mom used to take me around to do pageants, and I would do my performing and work the runway. So when I was like 3, 4, 5 years old, I got the bug. I liked entertaining people.
So was it kind of like that Dance Mom show?
Not quite that crazy, but it was a little more innocent than that. I enjoyed entertaining people. I just know I felt at ease in front of the crowd.
It was the Dance Mom show without the show.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, my mom used to do my face like full makeup. I used to love that.
Oh, really? Wow.
And I came from a musical family. I mean, my grandfather played like 20 instruments, and my brothers both played instruments. So I kind of came up playing with those guys when I was a little kid. And then once I got into high school, I went from playing a keyboard to playing guitar. I figured I'd pull more ladies with that. So
nobody likes the keyboard player, right?
Yeah,
unless you're Billy Joel.
They like the big phallic symbol. So I went with that, and then met this one in high school.
In high school, you guys met, huh? Where was that, in Philadelphia?
Well, he actually had a band with his brother. He had a band with his brother, and they were like more of a rock band, like a cover band. And I was a singer looking for a band, and they were a band looking for a singer. So it just kind of worked out that way. We ended up jamming, and
then we became a band looking for a hit.
And then we became a duo that kept writing them. So we just found that we were very prolific together, working on songs even early on. We wrote, I think we've written hundreds of songs.
Yeah, with 250, 300 something.
Yeah, a lot of songs.
A lot of stuff that never got recorded.
I mean, it was nice to have someone to inspire me to the next level, because I didn't really have anyone I didn't have that outlet until I met Way. So it was really interesting how we just started churning out songs, even in the beginning.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. You know, it sounds like there was a good connection there, like creatively, which is cool.
Oh, yeah.
When you were younger, what were some of the types of music you guys listened to?
I mean, I liked a lot of stuff. I liked rock, but I think more like Susie and the Banshees and Depeche Mode and Prince, stuff like that. What were you?
For me, it was like
the heavier stuff.
I was a white kid in a black neighborhood, so I liked everything from the Beatles to, I guess.
To the Stones.
To the Stones. Right? from the Beatles to Funkadelic, and I was really into James Brown growing up. I liked the whole Philly sound.
Yeah,
we came up in Philly. We actually came up in a suburb of Philly called Camden.
Sure.
The well-known city but not for any good reasons, but it's a well-known city.
Campbell soup.
Campbell soup, yeah, Campbell soup.
The biggest thing to hit Camden ever.
Yeah, exactly.
I said it's a
In
well.
fact, the tomato trucks used to ride by my house when I was a little kid.
Really? Wow. They use those Jersey tomatoes?
The Jersey tomatoes, yeah. When they would park, we would go and steal them.
See, it was a well-known city for crime even back then.
Even back then.
Even back then. All started with you, huh?
Yeah, I like to think. You know.
That's funny. So how did you, I mean, there you
Hey,
go.
John.
So how did you steer yourself into a music career? Was it like something that as a kid, you really thought, hey, I want to be a singer, or I want to produce music, or I want to play keyboards? I know you have your family is into it way, but was that something you saw as a career for yourself?
I did not. It just sort of, we're kind of slackers in high school. So it just sort of meandered and became that, just because I didn't want to go get a job. I did eventually, but I wasn't wired to do anything but play guitar and get high and all that good stuff that you do in high school. And, when we finally started to gel into a band, I mean, there was a vibrant scene going on in Philadelphia already with people like the Hooters and Robert Hazard and so forth. So we started, out more or less doing new wave, what it was called back then. Only we always had like a syncopated kind of feel to it. I guess maybe like Berlin, like it was rock,
Sure.
but still had this pulse going on. And, as we got to see more of the world up close, going to conventions and stuff, we realized that we fit in and we could compete with other groups that were doing it.
We always like to have that edge, like we were doing something that was kind of rock, kind of dance, leaned a little urban. We had live percussionist. I always like to have music with like a high energy and a good vibe. Speaking for myself, I always wanted to be a star. I was your typical in the mirror with a hairbrush, lip syncing to my favorite songs, thinking someday it's going to be
She would try out for American Idol.
And I still do. Later. And I still do every night in the shower.
There you go.
And it's interesting because like the neighborhood that I come up in, I mean, the Tramps live there. We have the Ebonies there. So I was surrounded by a lot of good people, and I was I guess a decent guitar player for a little kid. So,
Well, I think we froze there for a second. So we'll see if we can get him back in there.
Just lost him. Oh, there.
Yeah, there we are.
Lee Maddox, who was playing in the Jimmy Castor bunch. They were back in the day. They had a big song called Troglodyte.
Just Begun.
With Bertha Butt and the Butt Sisters and One of Her Woman with that song. And he introduced me to a guy by the name of Kaya Pryor, who later down the line would become our percussionist and basically drive the rhythm that we had, because without him, we wouldn't have had that kind of rhythm that gave us the edge over everybody. He was like a class A percussionist.
Yeah.
Definitely defined our sound early on. We were one of the few groups with a live percussionist.
Right. Well, yeah, because I remember I saw some of the promo pictures from early in the days, and you guys were definitely on that new wave DOR, dance-oriented rock kind of tip, right, which was a thing back then. It was pretty huge.
Yeah.
So was our hair.
Well, the higher the hair, the closer to God, right?
Yeah.
Amen.
There you go. So
now it's just long instead of being
just it's nothing a little Aquanet can't fix. Just pop it on.
Oh, right. Hell yeah.
God, I had stock in that.
Yeah, we did by the case. The whole group would use it.
Nice. So now, how did the group form? So you guys met in high school, and then you had met the gentleman who does the percussion for you guys. He came in a little bit later. There were a couple other people in the group early on too, right?
Yeah, my brother was a drummer.
Okay.
And a good friend of mine from school was he was not actually our original bass player. We had other bass players, but we had this revolving door going on in the band where bass players and keyboard players seemed to come in and go out. And so that's why I decided to go back to playing keyboards. And I was really interested in the whole like sequencer movement that was going on at the time. Pardon me.
Yeah.
And I was influenced pretty heavily by Kraftwerk and, you know, like Jay said, Depeche Mode, who we even opened up for at one point.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, really. Like we had like some really interesting, you know, pairings with different bands that were, you know, you would never expect. Pretty Poison opened up for Psychedelic Furs. We opened up for Billy Idol. We'll actually play with him again in this coming October in Cancun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they have this thing called 80s in the Sand. Well, actually,
Hey,
it's
Manny.
just called the Sands. Hey, Manny, I was going to talk about you.
That's funny. You were.
I'll get to Manny Ferreras in a minute. The big show. It's in October. It's the week of, I believe it's the 25th through the 30th of October.
Yeah, it's Halloween week, and we'll be in Cancun.
With
nice.
Billy Idol, Cheap Trick,
Belinda Carlisle,
Sheena Easton,
and I'm also a booking agent,
many,
so I put
so
I put Rob Bass, a good friend of mine,
Rob Bass,
and Rob Bass, the Jets, and I got him blanking on the other one. But
there's so many. It's
the
a huge
Hooters
lineup. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we won't. They won't be on our show, but we're the one's going to be like a throwback Club MTV. Downtown Julie Brown does the announcing, and we're friends with her.
Yeah, they have a lot of the MTV jocks that come in and host the shows. So it's so much fun. It's like a vacation. It's a 3-day or like a 5-day festival, and everybody's just walking around and getting sun and enjoying themselves. It was supposed to be last year. It got pushed to this year, of course, because of the pandemic, as most things. Last year just got canceled. It's almost like last year never even happened.
It's just a little.
Like
we
a
didn't.
blur.
Nothing happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And we were on.
Exactly right.
And we were off to a really good year last year.
We really were. We had more shows booked for last year than like forever, like a huge amount of tour dates.
Like we started the year off with these Netflix shows that use Catch Me. I mean, he gets licensed a lot, and
yeah, that's good.
So I started out with RuPaul imitating Jade on Netflix.
That was the best.
Don't get better than that.
AJ and the Queen. So we had 3 Netflix shows this past year. We had Cheer about the Navarro squad. Then we had AJ and the Queen with Rue impersonating me, which was like
priceless.
I'm not worried.
That's on YouTube.
That was amazing.
Check that out.
And then recently, in the last couple months, Selena, the series, which was another story about Selena. And it was a really interesting part of the show where they're on their tour bus, they're on their way to a show, and are on the radio, and she says to her friend, I think I'm going to dye my hair red. So I'm thinking that maybe I inspired that line. I'm claiming
possibly.
that. I'm claiming that.
Why not? It's there.
Yeah, it's there for the taking. But I mean, we've really been fortunate in the the pandemic year that there have been some nice blessings,
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the live shows were canceled. But we were also involved in another show, a biopic that's coming on April 9th on Amazon Prime and YouTube. It's called Let the Music Play. And what it is about how the pandemic affected the music industry, basically killed it in the last year. So there's interviews with members of Foreigner, Cutting Crew, Enough's Enough, Way and Jade from Pretty Poison, Sabrina from CoverGirl, Suave, and Arcel Abatello. We're all kind of crying the blues. But there's many concert promoters and other artists talking about, how they maintained and how they got through this. And how we're still getting through it, because we're really not through it yet.
No, it's 100% true. I mean, I've had a lot of DJs on this call, and I do a private Tuesday night Zoom call with mix show DJs from around the country that started because of the pandemic. Riddler and TJ Hess, who was in Pittsburgh, they wanted some place where these guys can get together and talk to each other because they all lost everything. Like they lost every gig they had. And these guys have been in this business for a long time, like, as yourselves for, decades. where that's all they built up to be, was this, being the music business, and then everything gets wiped out and they can't really do anything else,
I recently saw that Rich has a club in Houston and they're open.
Now they are. Places are definitely starting to open, and that's a topic of conversation every week. Scotty B can tell you in Florida everything's open. It never closed. So
right.
As it really should have been.
We'll definitely
navigate through it, without closing everything down.
Yeah, I mean, we're all adults. We all know how to keep ourselves from getting sick. But that's for another story for another day. But I was going to say that I managed to weather through it. My recording. Oh no, that wasn't what I was going to say. I was going to say that this is the first time in 30 plus years, that we didn't have a live show in a 1 year period.
Yeah, the last show we had was in El Paso, Texas. It was a freestyle explosion. So it was like a big multi-act show. So it was kind of difficult coming off something like that and then coming back and basically nothing. Everything canceled. A lot of things got pushed to this year, but I mean, and then some of the shows that got pushed to this year
our teetering one getting pushed later in the year.
Yeah, later in the year. So
but the problem is, go ahead.
Although we just picked up a show in California, outdoor freestyle festival.
That's good.
4th of July weekend. So
with like some of the usual suspects, Stevie and Lisa, Peter and folks like that.
So I mean, I always love working with Bobby D. He puts on amazing shows out on the West Coast. So hopefully, God willing, this is all going to happen and things are going to start opening up again. Probably to a lesser degree. I think they're going to be at a lesser capacity, but because it's outdoors, it'll be a lot safer. People are itching to get out. People are dying to get out. It's, we're all dying to go out and see each other and touch each other and hug and kiss and be together again.
And be whatever normal is again.
Yeah, whatever normal is again.
Places are definitely opening up, and you can go on YouTube and or go to Riddler's page, and he posts videos live from the club a lot. And it's because they're open and they are still practicing safety protocols. They hold 1,200 people, but they'll only let in 600. But the place is packed. You know what I mean? It's like people want to be out there.
It looked like a rooftop event, right?
It's actually it's not a roof. I don't think it's a rooftop. It might be, but I know the entire place opens. The roof opens and closes if it's bad weather. So it's really a big place.
I saw he had some pretty big name DJs. He had Bonnie and Clyde.
Cash was in there.
Yeah. So it's good to see those names again. I'm happy to see people coming out. My friend Josh Soon from Phoenix Paul, I was talking to him and he said everything's open in Australia. They're doing huge festivals again. So
they're definitely coming back.
Yeah,
without a doubt. I had something else on touring, but we'll get back to that. Let's bring it back to when you guys first entered the studio. What was the first time you went in there? It wasn't, you had a bunch of songs before Nighttime, which was your first hit. So when you went into the studio, what was that feeling like? Because here you are trying to make it as a band, and now this big experience of going into a studio, and are you excited, or are you just kind of in awe? Is it, what kind of experience was that for you?
Well, what we did initially was we kind of made a studio at my mom's old house, my parents' old house. Where
original bedrooms?
We put the board in my bedroom and dropped all the cables down 2 stories out the window, back into the basement window, and that's where all the mics were set up. So, and then I had a guy who was going to engineering school who was up there. We made like a crude talk back. I guess we're using cans and string to talk to each other, but we made this crude talk back, and we actually recorded a song in that venue first. So we got our very, very first experience doing it at home. Okay. And then when we started to shop around for studios in the area, we went to a place called Fresh Tracks, which was an affordable studio at the time. And I think I got my parents to fork the money to go in there, but we were really excited about it. And I laid all my parts, and I was working for the post office at the time, so I had like this hellish schedule, and I went to sleep, and Jade ended up producing the whole thing with the engineer.
You know, the brains behind the organization.
and now I'm a producer.
And beauty and brains.
I engineer.
Well, we actually graduated to bigger and better studios after that. We did a majority of recording at KGEM.
Yeah, but Nighttime was recorded at Studio 4, and Studio 4.
That's true, Studio 4.
They went on to become Rough House Records. Rough House Records came out of there. And we were at when Boys II Men recorded End of the Road, we were actually at the session when they were recording the backgrounds while it was going down.
We were in the studio when the Fugees were recording.
We were in when the Fugees were doing the score. They were mastering the score. Was when we met those guys, and we were working.
Met a lot of interesting people in the studio.
But Studio 4 was really like the first big league studio we recorded at. And then when we signed over to Virgin, we ended up in, like Sunset Sound and Larrabee, all the big LA places.
Many studios.
But by then we were like vets,
Right, yeah. Well, you had that big Virgin money in there, so.
Yeah.
Little did you know they were charging it all back to you.
Right.
You are not kidding.
I know.
At
People
pennies
don't
on
know
a dollar.
People do not know that. But
yeah. Oh, you need a limo? Oh, by the way, yeah, here it is. And
here's your $1 million record
right.
bill.
Right. That's now you owe us $1 million because we spent.
No, now you owe us $2 million. So you'll never make any money.
Right. So the first big hit was Nighttime. A lot of people don't realize that because Nighttime was also re-released after Catch Me I'm Falling. So it was a big club hit. Did it get any radio play? I'm not sure.
Nighttime got some radio play in Philly.
In the beginning, the first time around.
Yeah, a guy by the name of Jeff Wyatt was running the station. 99 was a news station at the time. And it was him and Fred Buggs, and they were just really big fans of the record. So they gave us a lot of love and a lot of credibility here.
Yeah, they loved it. It was a #1 dance record, so
yeah, it charted. It was
pay attention somewhat in mix show and stuff like that. So yeah,
officially number 13 in Billboard, but #1 in a lot of charts.
Yeah, absolutely, big record. And then it was kind of like, what was like the period between that and it was 2 or 3 years later that you actually recorded Catch Me, right?
Yeah.
So
in between, we had management that had been associated with other big acts out of the city, Robert Hazard being the real big one, who wrote Girls Just Want to Have Fun. So he basically was controlling that song. And he thought that what attracted him to us was the whole new wave realm that we were, doing when he first met us. This was a real departure for him. And he wasn't as comfortable in this the connections in this world. So he wanted us to go back and do more of the safer kind of on the edge of rock and pop stuff that we were eventually doing. And so that's why the hiatus between the two records.
Yeah.
So we just got, another studio interested. They offered a spec time. That was KGEM that Jade alluded to. They were doing real big, like top flight rock acts. They had Queensryche in there. They had Cinderella, did their albums in there. And eventually they ended up selling it, ironically, to Boys II Men. It became Stone Creek Studios.
That's fun.
But we were doing a spec deal, and there were 3 or 4 songs that attracted the studio to us, and they really believed that they could help get us signed. And somehow the 3rd song just wasn't really coming out right. So he said, "Do you have anything else?" I said, "I got this song we did in the basement on a cassette. You want to hear it?" I said, "I like it. We really like it a lot." But it's like, so I pop in Catch Me I'm Falling. He's like, "Oh my God, this is a hit. This is what we got to do."
That's great. Do you remember the first time you heard, Nighttime was probably the first record you heard on the radio, right?
Yeah.
The first record we heard on mainstream radio, because all of our songs got played on college radio.
College? Okay.
Everything we put out got played.
Philly, it would have been XPN that we would have heard some of our
XPN and KTU. KT is in New York. KDU was the Drexel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's funny because
college level.
Yeah, we got love there. originally. I mean, it was like, you know, we got a little fan base and everything. And once upon a time, Trouser Press referred to us as America's answer to Susie and the Banshees.
Wow.
We were, at that
And
point,
I'll take it.
might have been called Dark Wave. Now
Yeah.
they call it Dark Wave, but that's what we were like doing. That's what we liked. They were the groups that we listened to, and but it just didn't seem like we were going to get, because there wasn't enough outlets for it here.
Yeah.
And you couldn't make any real money traveling around, and we didn't have like buku dollars to go traveling around and not get any money at the other end from playing.
Right.
You know, some of the clubs, they wanted you to pay to play, and that was back, you know,
Back then. Wow.
in the mid 80s. And you know, so I really dug the stuff that was coming out on Emergency Records, and bought an 808 and a 303. And voila, Nighttime was born. You know.
And then we had people like Arthur Baker and John Roby reaching out to us, wanting to work with us or do remixes.
Yeah, we almost worked with John.
Interesting.
We almost worked with John.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it really. Once we were getting more into the New York metropolitan area.
So you know what the thing was? We got embraced by a Billboard writer, a really, really great guy who used to write about our live shows before we ever got even put Nighttime out. He had us in Billboard about our live show because our live show was better than most of the acts down here in Philly. And his name was Roman Kozak. And he wrote for the dance department.
Okay.
Right? Was it dance, or did he write for everything?
I think
Maybe he was doing live. It was just all the live shows. But he wanted to manage us. So before we took management down in Philly, Roman was really pressing to get Nighttime out, and we did that all by ourselves before we even had management here. And he had a heart attack and died.
Oh.
It was like losing Brian Epstein to us.
Yeah, sure.
It was really terrible.
He was very instrumental in the early part of our career, though, especially in New York.
Yeah, like he really knew everybody, you know, because he was a big shot at Billboard. And he was really opening doors for us. And I think he put the whole John Roby meeting together.
Yeah.
Wow.
And had he lived, I mean, who knows what our career would have done.
Sure. Well, I mean, you definitely in '87 skyrocketed. You know, a top 10 single. I mean, how'd that come about? What was going on? You know, tell me how that, you know, all happened.
We were recording at KGEM. We actually did a 3-song spec deal.
Okay.
And out of the 3 songs,
well, like I said, we were at that meeting and we were looking for the 3rd song, and I played Catch Me. He agreed it was a hit. And he had hired a couple of programmers to recreate the song because he had interest in using a lot of the brand new keyboards that had come out, and they were able to afford to buy all that stuff, so they had it. And at the time, they were called Kitten and Cat. You may remember Kitten put out a record as Jan Stevens, I believe, on Atlantic Records. Or she might have still been called Kitten, I don't know, on Atlantic Records, but she put out a record. So I don't know, it was like an obscure dance record that came out. But we did not like the arrangement they came up with. They kind of gutted all the feeling that we had on the tape.
It had no soul. Dude, it sucked. I hated it. I fucking hated it.
Yeah, they didn't like it. And no offense to you guys. No offense to you guys if you're listening, because we love you guys and we love where it eventually came from.
But it wasn't us. It wasn't a representation of us. So what we did was we brought in the producer of Nighttime.
Yeah, K. Williams Jr.
Because he really knew where we were coming from and what we wanted to do and the direction we were going. He was like really a part of us.
Yeah, he was like the third member.
So he came up with a banging track. You and him came up with.
Well, actually, what we described it as is we remixed what they did. So we called it a remix. So that Catch Me I'm Falling that came out and became the hit is actually a remix to Catch Me I'm Falling. And,
interesting.
And there is that original one floating around somewhere. I don't know, somebody somewhere in some closet. But it just don't have. And what we kept that they did that we really liked was the big, orchestrated intro with the cellos and stuff. That was those programmers that came up with that. And
that was a keeper. That was a beautiful orchestration. I love the way it starts just with the vocal and the orchestration. It's gorgeous. I really love that to this day.
And it's funny, now I make a living engineering, and all, looking back at it, like I can do a song like that in a matter of a couple of hours now. It took 24 hours just to mix that.
Oh, yeah. Back then
it was on 48 tracks. We had two Studer machines two Studer machines strapped together. So you had to run sync to keep the two together. And all the vocals were on 24 tracks and all the music was on 24 tracks. And we somehow had to do a vocal mix and then bounce it over to the 24 tracks to mix it.
And I was actually in London the week that they mixed it. So when I came back, I was pleasantly surprised. When I heard it, I got so emotional. I had tears in my eyes. It was really beautiful. It sounded amazing. And I was really happy that I had put in the time with Kurt Schur, who was also one of the producers, to really get the vocal right. I mean, he had me with the piano, just me and him and the piano, and just really working on hitting the high note and getting the vocal right. So it would be soft with little nuances, and then it would be, loud and proud and hit those notes. So I'm really happy we put in the time.
And what's so good about Catch Me is, like she said, with the piano, you can play Catch Me with the piano and just do it like, a Torch song, and it holds up.
That's a sign of a
well-written song.
That's a sign of a good song.
Candlelight mixes, that's what we used to call them.
Yeah, hello from New Jersey. Thanks.
I love it.
Hi, New Jersey. New Jersey just.
Hey, Boucher.
No,
I see Scott. I see all you guys, but I'm trying to pay attention.
Scotty was telling me a story about how one time you guys were stranded down in Orlando and had to ride in his
hoopty. And he still has.
Yep, he still does. He rides around in that.
That's a rock and roll hoopty. That's a friend for you, though.
Oh, absolutely.
God is a friend. I love
the best.
You so much, Boucher. I miss you. Can't wait to see you guys again.
Yeah, one day.
There's rumblings that we got a show in Florida, so we'll be announcing something.
Well, we'll come see you guys for sure.
Yeah. So now, Catch Me starting to climb the charts. What's the feeding frenzy like? You guys now have tons and tons of shows coming in, I bet. I'm sure it's for a lot of money, but you're also probably traveling to 15 different cities every week. What was that like for you personally? Because a lot of people will never get to experience that. So,
a lot of those were freebies because
radio. Well, radio froze us, I guess. Well, hopefully we unfreeze in a second.
There
we go.
As I was saying, we sometimes would have to go into these markets, do a promotional show for the radio station to get the ad.
Right.
Or thank them for the ad. And then go and do another show at night. So we were doing a lot of shows. It got pretty grueling. I mean, I can recall having to go when I was sick. I had a fever. I was delirious. I had to go on a plane. People are like, can I have your autograph? You have to be nice and sweet to people, which I always am. But, it's really hard.
I can remember one day we did 3 shows in one night.
I believe that.
New York and 2 shows in Connecticut. And then another time,
they
had Jade in Atlanta. But I think he did something in the morning in LA and then flew to Atlanta and did a show that night.
Sure I did. Listen, there was
a lot
of butt kissing back then, to the radio stations because, you had to appreciate what they were doing. They're playing.
Well, you had to get the ads
all day long. And you know what? I don't mind. I mean,
right.
I was happy to do it, but yeah, it got pretty grueling sometimes. But you know what? You got to do what you got to do. You got to hustle. You got to get it while it's hot. Get it.
Do you remember any kind of way you were dealing with the stress?
No social media.
Yeah, and with no social media, I mean,
nowadays it's different.
This was legit. People would line up to come and see you, and come to your show and buy your records, and just pretty amazing.
Yeah, people used to do in stores. Can't do that anymore. People would line up around the block.
A lot of in stores.
Yep.
lot
Yeah, I
of
love in stores.
in-store performances. I like a little, intimate setting. Yeah.
I remember we did an in-store at Bleecker Bob's.
Wow.
I felt so exonerated because when we were young and put our very first single out, "Give Me Your Autograph," give me your autograph. They were condescending to us, and then
Really?
we came back, yeah, because I don't know,
Yeah, they probably had 100 people a day in there like that.
Yeah, and it's like when we came back with a hit record, and they asked us to do an insert. It was just pretty funny. It was poetic.
You know what? We were digging all the ass kissing for sure.
Yeah.
That we were getting.
Yeah, of course.
Because of all the ass kissing that we had given.
To do. Yeah. It has to go both ways.
The thing was really interesting because of our history and having come up and knowing Mark Josephson pretty well, and Tom Silverman. When we did pop with Catch Me, they put us on, was it the Saints? We did a club with the Saints. They were like some big new wave band out of Australia.
Yeah, Utah Saints.
Utah Saints.
No, this group was called the Saints.
The
They
Saints?
were like, yeah, New Utah Saints was like a techno band, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the Saints, and we played live with this band, and we did our rock stuff, and then we did Catch Me I'm Falling. But that was the only time we ever played the New Music Seminar. But we actually had like a nice prime spot. But it was just a weird dynamic because the odd song out was Catch Me I'm Falling, and that was the one we were having a hit with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
it would rock the house no matter what.
Well, you change the arrangement a little bit and you make it a rock song for that.
Right.
Well,
It
does have a rock lead. It has guitar on it.
Yeah, 100%. All right, going back to touring a little bit. We talked about the documentary coming up on April 9th? April 9th on
April 9th, yes.
Amazon Prime
Yes.
and YouTube.
Yes.
So now you guys are probably going to be on the road at some point this year. Let's just say that's going to happen. Do you have any reservations? Is there anything like that you're not comfortable with doing? Because I know that, I've talked to some artists and they're just kind of like, no meet and greets with anyone. I'm doing my show and getting out of there. I don't want to deal with this just now. So how comfortable are you with going back to whatever you normally did in a show?
I would tend to agree about the meet and greet situation.
Mm-hmm.
We always do meet and greet, and I love that. I mean, I love talking with the fans afterwards. I'm always happy to sign autographs and stuff like that. But I mean, until we're 100%, contained, and this thing is like really gone and under control, I don't really know how safe it is for anybody to be together that close. I mean, outdoors, yes, but I don't know about all the hugging and mugging and things like that. We're just gonna have to see what happens.
And myself, I'm cool with the meet and greets. I've been running a recording studio. I have not taken a day off in over a year. I don't wear masks.
Well, we froze again. Just give it a second. Hopefully we'll be back.
There you go.
There we go.
Magic.
I started the pandemic real concerned and real mad. I wore gloves even. And I mean, it was a weird way to work, but I wore gloves, masks, a hood.
Right.
Took all my clothes off outside of the house before I went in. Scrubbed the groceries.
Gas mask.
I even had a gas.
Scuba gear.
Gas mask.
Yeah, I got like an Israeli issue gas mask.
We did a concert online,
and I wore that.
And you wore that. It was funny. Really funny.
But honestly, I've had people in here that I know have had it or did have it while they were in here, because one kid literally left his paperwork saying he had it in our hallway. And I started to feel like either I must be type O blood, because I know type O is the least blood type that really gets it.
Interesting.
I beefed up all my vitamin intake, the vitamin D and quercetin, all that stuff. And I take something called colloidal silver, and I've been taking that for over a year now.
We're all on that.
And there's some people, that swear by that kills viruses. So I feel confident, I guess, And I mean, being a cancer survivor, I guess I should really be the opposite, but I haven't. I mean, if I had it, I didn't have symptoms, and
Right.
I've been certainly in touch with enough people, and we do what they call in this generation DAP, which is when you shake hands, you pull off, you pull skin basically, and snap at the end. And I mean, you know, I live a little bit reckless, I suppose, because they're always on me. My wife and Jade are always on me about it, but so far so good.
You know, I haven't been reckless, but you know, I'm also not a recluse. I go places, I do things. I wear a mask when I'm supposed to wear a mask, and I don't wear one when I don't have to. I just think we all have to just monitor the situation, and you know, whatever your comfort level is.
And you got to really look at the situation too, because there's politics involved. I mean, I know people that have died from it, but there's politics. Yeah. There's a lot of shit going on in this world right now. You just got to wake up.
A good friend of ours passed away, Gary Saussman.
Yeah, Gary was.
He was the first person that I knew.
First person that I knew too.
Because that was back in March.
I couldn't believe it.
I was so upset. I just could not believe it. Because he's someone who was also, you know, there in the beginning with us. You know, someone we've known for a long time.
Yeah, we've known Gary forever.
So that really hit hard.
Yeah.
So, but I know that he had underlying conditions and things like that, and we weren't knowledgeable. We didn't know what was going on. So.
Right. Well, you had mentioned you'd gone through cancer, you know, a cancer scare. You had it, and it's hopefully, you know, well now. And you guys started an organization. Is that Party to Life?
Yeah, partytolife.org. Actually, we're in the process of putting the website up now. Okay. We've been slow walking the organizing of the organization, but we do have the it's Party to Life.
Party to Life.
To Life? Oh, let me change that. Hold on.
Party to Life.
Party to Go sounds fun though.
It sure does. Sounds like a CD I should buy.
That's another one.
Yeah, partytolife.org. And what my cancer was tonsil cancer. So the tonsil cancer that I had started to metastasize, and I was at a stage 4. But with head and neck cancer, stage 4 is spreading, but there's also grades. They give a letter grade. So I was 4A. So I was at the lowest end of stage 4. Like we caught it before it really started to move too far. It got into one of my lymph nodes and was about to go to the other one, but that's when we caught it. My cancer was HPV related, which
because Way used to be a slut.
Yeah, I was a slut, and in the 90s apparently is when it most likely was contracted, and sometimes your immune system just doesn't kill it. A lot of people's immune systems kill it. Mine didn't. Mine patted it on the head and sent it to sleep. So one day it woke up.
We froze again. Let's give it a second. Hopefully we'll...
I always had this lighthearted attitude towards it because even though it was a wretched thing to go through, but they couldn't take my tonsil out because I guess I'm a birth defect has my carotid artery right behind the tonsil bed. Oh, so wow. For them to have operated, they said that the risk factor involved was too great. Yeah. That if they nicked the carotid artery, I'd have a lot of other problems. So I elected to go through radiation. The radiation was aggressive. It was 35 courses of radiation. And I would have 5 days on and 2 days off. So it was like the work week, basically. And as it progressed, like after the 10th course of radiation, it was like a really rough thing to have to go do. And one of the things that, and all my coughing and stuff is just a byproduct of what I went through. I have like a salivatory issue where I always have cotton mouth. I don't have to smoke any weed to get it. You know, it's always there. So, but one thing I noticed, I was thinking, well, gee, so many people helped me and reached, including you and Carrie, and I really appreciate that. And I wanted to give back. So I wasn't sure how to, but I wanted to do something. And since I'm in music, one of the things I noticed was that the music played during the radiation wasn't very good. And, you're not feeling like, well, gee, what music do I want to listen to? Like when you're like all depleted and losing 50 pounds in 7 weeks. And,
and your head stuck against
and your head's in a vice grip, basically, because they make a mask and they bolt you to a table and you can't swallow. And I had this wretched phlegm that kept coming up that I would have to try to cough it up before I went into the radiation, because I knew if it happened while I had that mask on, I was likely going to choke to death.
Yeah.
So, and you're listening to this terrible music. And I'm like, good Lord, I don't know what's worse, the music or the radiation. So the concept of Party to Life is to create, hey, Brett, the Party to Life is to create, wow, we're just getting into it. That's great. Hey, you guys, I love you.
Love you guys.
But Party to Life, the concept of Party to Life is to educate cancer patients going into treatment, before they take treatment, to choose some of the best songs, some of the life-changing songs that they've grown up with, that they've gone to when they're depressed, that they might go to when they're happy, ones that release endorphins for you. And everybody has them. Everybody has favorite songs. And you put those together in a playlist. So when you're going through the worst time of your life, you're hearing music that opens up memories to the best times of your life and opens up endorphins. And hey, Chuck. And so that's the concept in a nutshell.
You would not believe this guy. He was working every day in the studio up until
my wife wouldn't let me get in the car because I made the mistake of telling her I almost fell asleep.
Because I was driving. I would actually drive him sometimes, and he was so sick, and he didn't want to focus on the sickness.
So I came in and recorded rappers instead.
I think that you worked until the last maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah, 2 weeks.
Because the treatment was just so bad. He was so sick.
It was kicking my ass.
And you know what? He was the one that went through it. But when I tell you, we all went through it. His wife, Patty, and I swear I cried all day, every day. I was so scared that I was going to lose him.
They were going to lose, man.
I was so scared, and he was really courageous. And I have to hand it to you. You really were a trooper through the whole thing.
Well, thank you.
You're very strong. He's the strongest person I know. And
time is it? Can you see that?
7:51. We got plenty of time.
No, I got a session coming.
You got to go? Okay.
At some point. Right now,
for a couple minutes. We're good. I just wanted to express that, when someone is sick, and John, too, when someone close to you is sick, even though you don't have the illness, the cancer, but you still feel the sickness.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I lost like 10 pounds. I was so worried about him, honestly.
Yeah.
By the grace of God, he came through it like a champ. And we do appreciate everyone that contributed to the fundraiser. And John, you were there, and, it really meant a lot. It was really special.
Yeah, no, it was well worth going down, there for that and helping out as much as we could.
Yeah, you really did.
Thanks.
It was fantastic.
Well, so with Party to Life, we're going to, I want to do a 2K run for survivors. I want to do a Profiles and Courage Award. I call it Cancer Comfort. So that's what we're offering.
Okay.
And, I'm looking at bringing on some nice sponsorships and really ratcheting this up now that, it looks like the pandemic seems to be lifting, hopefully. And, as it affects everybody, I just want to be able to start to make moves with this to get this up and running. And we'll probably put a GoFundMe up so people can make donations to it. And we're in the process of getting all that together now. But it was like trying to pick a board was tough because, it's 501c3, so we have to have a board.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the whole corporate thinking and creating bylaws and all that. It's been interesting.
Yeah, it's a learning experience. I did that with the Dance Music Hall of Fame. It was a 5 whatever it was, and it was the same thing. It's like, I don't know any of this. It's like you got to learn it from the beginning. I bought one of those nonprofits for dummies books and just kind of went through that.
Oh, maybe we should get that.
Yeah. Well, I used one called LegalZoom.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That was my nonprofit for
Yeah, they weren't around when I was there. Well, not that I knew of anyway, So now you went through all that stuff, and you put yourself into your work to kind of take your mind off it a little bit, it sounds like.
And he was doing live shows too. Like, you went out like pretty much as soon as
I missed the shows up in Westbury.
You missed one, and John, I think you came to that show actually.
Yeah,
the
Westbury Music
that way wasn't there.
Yeah.
I think you only missed one that I can recall. And then we ended up going to California in a couple of months after that, or weeks after that, and that was one of your first shows. You came back like right after you were done your treatment. And
yeah.
And I know you still weren't feeling well.
I was out of treatment.
And
I'm going to exit for a second.
Okay.
Idiots keep ringing.
All right, go ahead. I'm going to talk about some new music that's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about some new music. And how were you inspired to write during this entire downtime? Did it inspire creativity in you, or was it just kind of like, this is my job and I got to do it?
I never feel that way. This is my life.
Yeah.
This is the air I breathe, and I have to breathe it. I would just die without it. I'm so lucky. I feel blessed that I have music in my life, that I can be creative. And I think that during this time, the past year, depressing to be away from people, but still keeping connected was really how I got through. And we took this time to work on new music. So basically, we've got almost an album's worth of new material and some exciting collaborations coming up.
Very nice.
Excited about. Our friend Manny Ferreros, he sent us a banging track called Looking for Love. And we are currently working on it. And I'm so excited. And I can't wait for everyone to hear it. It's been taking a while. It's a labor of love because we just had so many other things ahead of it. So I've been scheduling it in and working on it little by little, but it's banging, and I'm so excited. So Manny, just know we're still working on it, and I can't wait for you to hear it. And also another song called So Alive that I'm excited about, that I can't wait for everyone to hear. That's another banging track. And also we covered the Jamanda song, Got a Love for You.
Great song.
So all your DJs that I see,
we're looking for remixes.
We're looking for some remixes.
Fellas.
So I have some stems. So if anyone's interested, please hit us up.
Hit her on the gram.
Yeah, hit me. Because we need some banging remixes, and I know that there's some incredible. Yes, it will, Manny. It will be worth the wait.
It's always worth the wait, isn't it?
It is always worth the wait, because if you rush it and then you're like, shit, I could have, should have, would have,
Yeah, Well, actually, it's funny that you brought up remixes, because I was going to ask you about that. It seems like every year there's a new remix for Catch Me I'm Falling. And how do you guys feel about that, between the official mixes that get done and, the ones that just kind of get released by producers and remixers just coming up wanting to kind of take a great track and put their own spin on it? How do you guys feel about all that?
I haven't really heard, I haven't heard anything of
in a little while. Anyway,
in a minute. Yeah. I would welcome a really banging remix of it. I just have never really heard one yet.
And why those are out there is because we're trying to get Let Freedom.
Thank you.
We're trying to get Let Freedom Ring played. So we happen to have created new vocal stems for Catch Me. Jade sang it.
Okay.
And,
so they're available as well.
So we gave them out at the time to get Let Freedom Ring some love. And so we had so many mixes that came in of Catch Me I'm Falling. We said, well, let's put out a Catch Me I'm Falling 98. That was there's been a couple like that popped up since then.
Yeah,
I think Kashmir Ray did one.
Kashmir Ray did a really good job. I like what he did.
But
I would revisit that for sure.
yeah, but I mean,
It's
Mark
hard.
Christopher was the one that.
Yeah, his was
Wow.
a freestyle.
They did kind of like a freestyle version of it, and it's funny because we play on all these freestyle shows, and Catch Me really isn't.
No,
a freestyle song.
no, not at all.
But we'll take being on a freestyle show. We're fine.
Yeah, no, I think like promoters now just kind of took all the pop '80s records and said, "Hey, that's freestyle. Let's do
put
it
it under one big umbrella so they can sell it as a package."
Because people come up to me, "Oh, you're my favorite freestyle artist." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool.
Thanks."
Really?
We actually went in and grabbed some freestyle stuff that wasn't being represented, like Jaya, for instance. We've done Jaya probably longer than Jaya's done Jaya.
Yeah, I don't think Jaya's even doing it anymore.
And so it's basically become our song to a lot of people.
And we do Yono Say.
Yeah, like Pajama Party.
So
we do that. Like we just do songs we like and throw them in.
And the audience
because people sing to them.
100%. That's the fun part of it.
It works. It just makes the show exciting. Rather than trying to force them into songs of ours that they might not know, I'd rather it be a party and just make it a fun time. And that bridges the space between the hits of ours that they know. Right. And then we did Fire It Up. We just were always a big fan of that song, and we knew God, I don't want to say her name, but we knew the singer back on
Funky Green Dog.
Yeah, but what was her name?
I don't know.
It wasn't Brenda. It was
her first name was Funky. Her last name was
Green Dog. Yeah. But we were doing a lot of gay prides with Left Freedom Ring when we were promoting Left Freedom Ring. Yeah. It was actually the summer of Andrew Cunanan, who went on to kill Johnny Versace. And
Miami.
We were doing a big show.
We were doing a gay pride parade in San
Diego. And he was from San Diego, and the club that we were playing for was his hangout. Wow. So they expected him to come back that weekend for the gay pride and make some kind of big return and do something stupid there.
But
instead, he killed himself,
yeah.
Or they killed him, or whatever. It was the eve of when we played out there. But we did the remake of the Funky Green Dog song and had really good success with that. I mean, people really liked it.
It went #1. It was like #1 all over.
Yeah, it was #1 on a lot of charts, and we managed to get it into the top 3 on Billboard.
3 Billboard.
So we I think.
Oh, it was 2 Billboard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we haven't gotten that elusive #1 yet there, but it's coming.
Getting back to the Catch Me remix, it's so hard to take a song that was so popular and remix it and have it come up to par with the original. Because a lot of the DJs are like, "Oh, there's nothing like the original."
It's always that way. The original always sells the most records. It's hard to beat. There's very few. I could probably count on my hand the amount of like remixes that were better than the originals, that were hits, as opposed to the original was.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's frustrating because I would love to hear a remix of it that would really, turn the room out. But I guess it's hard. It's just hard. Yeah. Maybe we will. Hopefully, someone will come up with something.
It's
not out of the question. What?
Bob says, "Look who was screaming about Left Freedom Ring for you." You, Bob.
Oh, that's true, Bob Burke. You were a big fan of Left Freedom Ring. Bob Burke.
We think the one song that Virgin. We had this conversation with Iris Dillon, and we love to death. She's responsible for us. But we thought. Hold Me should have been the second single.
And When I Look Into Your Eyes should have got more love too.
Tamara. That was Pamela. Pamela. Thanks, Scott. It was Pamela.
Yes.
Pamela. It's just been a long time, after.
Yeah, we were hanging out and playing with her. Very cool.
30 friggin' years, right?
Oh, I wouldn't know. I wasn't born yet.
Something like that.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me. I don't know who you're talking about.
No.
That was Jade. That was Jade 1.
Right? Exactly. I'm her daughter. I've morphed into my own daughter.
Exactly. Cool. Any dates on the new singles, or we're still working on them?
I mean, you want
to summer.
Yeah, something in the summer. I think we're probably going to drop the Gotta Love For You first, but these remixes done.
Yeah, we need a guy to mix for you. So,
So
we got a guy to
holla,
mix for you.
holla.
Drop God, I love
Holla
you.
my-
'Cause I did like
holla
the
my boys
original
and
kind of.
girls.
I mind the original. I mean, and you know, my name in the remix world isn't worth anything, so we need like a real remix. Don't say no.
What,
Hey, Johnny.
what kind of vibe are you looking for on it? What do you hear it as?
I mean,
I think a good house
for
remix.
sure.
You know, I think that the whole
Maybe even like a disco house.
maybe the Doja Cat feel.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Something
Cool.
like that, but definitely some house mixes. I mean, the mix of Fired Up that got the most love was the one that was closest to the original. So probably something on the lines of the original with that bass that really.
Yeah, Chris is
funky
supposed to do a mix, but he's just been so busy.
Chris Cox we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, he still may do it, but he has been busy. But
and that's one of those records that actually all these DJs that aren't playing out can play on Twitch. Because a lot of them are playing sets that are very known music, old school. So that would fit right in. So it'd be a good time to release it. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, and we always liked the song, and we always thought that Jade did a great job on it. So.
Well, I agree with Scoop. I say make sure DJ Q gets it. If you need his info, you know where to find me.
Sure, Q.
Right, cool.
I love Q.
Yeah,
he would kill it.
Yeah, he remixed the record I did last year. It actually came out the year before, at the end of the year. The Jersey record, the Amazed cover.
Yeah,
his version was the version. So.
Yeah, I see a lot of his mixes on BPM.
Yeah. He gets played everywhere.
You know what? I'll holler at him too.
Bob likes Heaven.
Oh yeah, Heaven. Yeah, that was a good song too, Bob. Yeah, we thought that would be a single.
That was the session that we met Prince.
Yeah.
Ah, nice. You didn't say you met Prince.
A couple times.
He came into Andre Simone was producing us, and Prince walked in and was his princely self, and Andre had 50 or 60 candles burning.
Really?
So add Prince to that equation, you get what's called a hologram. And you're looking at him and saying, "My God, don't look real."
And it was even stranger. He was wearing peach and black.
Yeah.
He was wearing like a peach and black
polka
ensemble,
dots.
like a suit. He was all done up.
And
we're totally flirting with me too.
And we're thinking,
I'm like, "Oh, Prince, you're so cute. He's so little and cute."
And we're thinking, "Oh my God, Prince like really fucks with us."
It's like you put it right in your pocket.
But it turned out Prince didn't necessarily really fuck with us. He just wanted the room because he wanted to come record.
Yeah, that's all it is. Get out of my room.
He wanted our studio time. And then it turns out he was out shooting hoops in that little ensemble. At Sunset Sound, they had a basketball.
And we saw him again at a Grammy party. Like not
the 21
not
Club.
long after that.
21 Club.
And I was hanging out and talking to him. He was really real. So
wow, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I actually
in the studio he was Prince. It was like under a cherry moon Prince.
I think we're pretty lucky. We've met a lot of big stars, and a lot of them that have passed. So we feel blessed to have graced their presence around us.
I was lucky enough to see Prince twice, and both times it was at industry events. So it was very small, limited capacity, maybe 500 people. Ooh. And it was just wild. I mean, he just put on a show if it was for 20,000 people or, 10. It was, I mean, that's a real, musician.
Yeah, real artist.
Sure. He even did, I heard that he did a concert like that like a day before he passed away.
Yeah. So crazy. All right, I think we froze there again, but we're about to wrap this up. So hopefully they are still there.
Oh, I see. Yeah. You'll freeze, and I say, "Oh, air comes."
Freeze.
Yeah, freeze. It's freeze tag.
I will have to bail off of this.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna close it down now.
But
I can talk to you all night. I love.
Yeah, we can talk to you all night.
We'll bring it back. We'll do it again.
Yeah, for sure.
Worries.
Yeah, when we got some new stuff,
new single.
Talk about
100%. Absolutely.
And John, shoot me some names of some DJ remixers that I can holler at.
I will do that tonight or tomorrow, actually. So
Awesome.
for
So
sure.
nice to catch up with you.
We got buckets and buckets of stimulus money.
Apply for your PPE and all the fun stuff.
All that, yeah, right. I'll pay for remixes. What they say
Right.
for remixes.
That's what I'm going to spend my $1,400 on studio time.
Exactly.
Everybody's spending $1,400 on. That's why I got bags on.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
But guys, Jade, Wei, thank you so much for coming on. I definitely appreciate it and look forward to hearing the new music when it comes out.
Thank you, John. Thanks for the opportunity. It's so great to see you.
Good to see you as well. We'll talk soon.
See you in person, and thanks everybody for tuning in. You know who you
love
are.
you guys.
We love you so much, and we feel your love. We really do.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Like
Bye.
It's Major says, who are you? We are Pretty Poison. That's who we are.
There you go. That's who we are.
Hey, look behind us. It's our gold record.
We are a group that had a big hit that you've heard in probably a dozen movies.
You're like, who's that hot redhead? Oh,
who's that? Who's that beauty?
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna go raid. I think we're gonna raid Jade Dobby. So give me a moment. I'm gonna put you guys in the green room. If you want to hold on, if you have to go, that's cool.
Sure, babe.
But, I'll talk to you in a minute. All right, now to raid Jade Dobby, my boy Jade Dobby, who we raid every single week. Let's go in here. Where's Jay? Hopefully he's still on. I don't know if he's still on. We're gonna see. Is it Jay? Dobby, where's Dobby? Or is it DJ Jade Dobby? I don't know. I should probably check these things out beforehand. Let me see my phone. What am I going to do? Hopefully you all enjoyed the interview. They are the wonderful Pretty Poison, and we love them, and they will have some new music hopefully this summer. You do know Nighttime and Catch Me, I'm Falling, and all that fun stuff. Jay Dobby one. There he is. Cool. All right, let's head over to Jay Dobby, and we will see you all next week. I believe it might be a daytime show next week because Evie from Glasgow is scheduled to come on. Hopefully she can make it. She had to postpone it last time, but hopefully this time she'll be there. And my name is John Parker. I'll see you soon, and we are starting to raid, I believe. Hopefully. I don't know. Maybe we're raiding. Are we raiding? Let me see. Let's watch Jade's chat and see. Jace, what's Jay playing? I don't know what he's playing. Did we raid his channel already? I think we did. I'm really bad at raids. I'll tell you that much. Something went wrong. Try returning that quick action later. So it's not going to let me raid. That's kind of interesting. All right, let's try Nick Styles. Sorry, Jay. No, it's not letting us raid today. So sorry, guys. But we tried. We'll see you soon. Take care, everyone. Let me just go over this way. And here we go. Wait, hold on. There's some people still on here. Let's put their comments in there. What's up, Rosalie? Chuck Barrett. We got Scoop. Scotty. Manny. All right. We'll see you all soon.